Welcome back. It's time once again for book club, and Conrad Stump is joining me from the Springfield Greene County Library. Good to see you as always.
To see you, of course.
All right, so you brought me 3 selections today. What's the first one?
Yeah, so the first one is The Deep by Alma Katsu.
Okay.
I'm super excited for this because Alma will actually be at the Library Center tomorrow night as part of our annual October series called Oh the Horror.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's very exciting. And she's kind of a master at like blending supernatural horror with like the actual horrors of history. So she's done a book inspired by the Donner Party. She's done a book that's inspired by like World War II era Japanese internment camps. And this is inspired by the sinking of the Titanic in 1912. Yeah,
okay.
so it's kind of, it's fun. And it follows a young woman named Annie who leaves her small Irish village to take a job on the Titanic. And of course, soon strange things start happening. The Titanic sinks, Annie survives, but she doesn't quite remember what happened. And it's not until years later when she takes a job on another ship during World War I that the memories of what actually happened that night the Titanic sank become clear.
That is fascinating. Okay, so tell me this. So there's a lot of people out there that obviously kind of obsess over the Titanic and what it was and really enjoy the movie. So for those kinds of people, what are they going to love most about this specific book?
I think it makes you think about the Titanic differently, right? It's not just that something supernatural is happening, which it is.
Right.
It's kind of more like what brought the passengers to that point in their lives? How did the survivors live with what happened? So really examining the characters help you sort of examine the real life people. And I think history is really interesting if you present it correctly. And I think talking about the people who lived through it is a good way to connect with that.
Okay, that's really interesting. And I don't know, I'm interested to like know more about what this perspective would be. So, all right, the second book you brought me today is called Curse of the Reaper. Tell me about this one.
Curse of the Reaper by Brian McCauley. So he is a screenwriter who's done television, movies, and this is his debut novel that just came out this month. So basically it follows the actor who portrays this killer in a 1980s horror film franchise. And he's kind of like aged out of that role. He's being replaced by a younger actor in the early aughts reboot. And this news comes as a shock and coincides with some uncontrollable violent outbursts that sort of make him question whether his character, the Reaper, is acting through him to sort of get revenge. So it's kind of a classic, fun, meta horror slasher.
Okay. All right, now for those who love horror, which involves you, what are they going to love most about this book, per se?
Yeah, well, I think horror actually has a lot of heart. And I think this book kind of goes to show that while offering sort of a critique of like what the film industry could do to someone, how it could wear them down, right? Broken promises, people treating you differently because you're famous, but also like how strange it must be to age, especially when when your younger self is part of this cultural zeitgeist and like there's this idea of who you were and who you are now and kind of dealing with that. So again, there's a human aspect involved in the horror.
Okay, so some interesting themes there of like aging in Hollywood per se, which is actually really fascinating to me. So that's interesting. All right, so the last one you brought me is called Toad. What do I need to know about this?
That's right, Toad by Catherine Dunn. So Dunn wrote a book called Greek Love, or Geek Love.
Geek Love,
yeah, Geek Love. That is a cult classic. It has never gone out of print in 50 years.
Wow.
And so this is a novel that's previously unpublished that is coming out in like a week or so. And it's inspired by Dunn's college experiences. And so it involves a reclusive woman named Sally who her only company is some goldfish, the door-to-door salesman who sells her cleaning supplies once a month, and a garden toad. So she lives a pretty reclusive life, and she's kind of obsessed with her college days, her romances, her group of friends, and essentially like the tragedy that tore that group of friends apart. And so then it becomes this captivating but also like darkly humorous journey to get to that point, to find out what happened.
Very interesting. 3 really, fascinating selections today. So if people want more information from the library, where can they go to get that?
They can go to thelibrary.org.
Okay, perfect. Conrad, thank you so much for joining. Always a pleasure.